African people should bring about their own development, which implies the urgent need to increase local knowledge. Since 1988, this has been the creed of the World Bank, according to which local knowledge is a key element of the poor's social wealth and the main asset they have at their disposal in order to take the control of their own lives. Through this initiative, the World Bank takes much more decision to back up the efforts of Burkina Faso, a Sahelian landlocked country, as it works towards food security. For 3 years and through the channel of the Everpass Association, the World Bank has been bringing to this country a support in the development of farming techniques that restore the soils and assure producers good yields. The Zai is a farming technique that enables farmers to increase tremendously their yields and to gain back deteriorated soils. Indeed, this technique is very appropriate for the Sudanese Sahelian zone, where rainfall ranges between 500 and less than 700 millimeters. In the most humid zones, plants risk paralysis, whereas in the most dry zones, they risk being burnt by the manure. In order to benefit from the huge advantages of the Zai, it is required to scrupulously follow 4 stages that characterize the technique. But before dealing with these 4 stages, let us speak about that vital element in the Zai method, that's to say, the organic fertilizer. This organic matter could be some compost, manure, or household residue. How does the farmer get the compost? An old man living in Yonog has got the answer. They go out to collect it and they keep it under the shadow. Then they renew the digging activity. There are several ways of getting manure. This is only one of the various techniques.
Ça là, dans un pocket de Zai, vous voyez? Ça c'est un fumier qui ne provoque pas les larves. C'est totalement décomposé. Oui.
The decomposition process has been successful, but they failed to pick up the compost. Now it has almost mixed up with the soil. This stage consists in digging holes that are to receive the manure and the seeds. The operation takes place in the dry season between March and June. The harmattan should be prevented from carrying weeds into the holes or filling them up. The Zai holes are dug in a concourse or lined up. The earth that has been dug out is arranged on downstream side, and it serves as a trap for crumbs of vegetable matter that are carried away by the wind and the water runoff. The dimensions of the holes vary according to the types of soil, slope, and farming. They are larger with poor soils on glacis, 15 to 25 centimeter deep, and 20 to 50 centimeter across, and much more reduced, 5 to 20 centimeter deep and 5 to 30 centimeter across, with sandy clayish soils on slopes or shoals. The seedbed density then varies between 25,000 and 30,000 holes per hectare according to dimension. This operation takes place before the falling of the first rains. It consists in filling 2/3 of the holes with the organic fertilizer, compost, manure or household residue, and then covering it up with a thin layer of earth. The quality of the organic matter varies according to the size of the hole, and it ranges between 5 and 10 tons per hectare. This quantity is sufficient enough to cover the next 2 to 3 years, with crops benefiting from the first year residual manure. The sowing is carried out when the soil has received enough water. During the process, the crop is put down in the middle of the hole, and it is then covered up with a thin layer of earth. Just a single slight strike of a wooden pick is enough to bury the seeds. Each area may keep on using its own crop sowing technique. This operation is generally associated with the clearing process. It consists in hoeing weeds out of the crops and loosening the soil. It is generally limited to the holes only during the first years, and then extended to the whole farmland during the years that follow. This practice helps the woody to regenerate. As a whole, the weeding activity is carried out twice during the campaign, at growing and blooming times, with other weedings on demand. When the Zai holes are well managed, they can serve for 2 successive campaigns. During the second year, the farmer sows directly in the same hole without bringing in any organic fertilizer. During the first weeding out, the remnants of the preceding campaign, stalks or roots, are dug out. During the third year, the hole is almost filled and the whole process is resumed, the digging and the use of organic matter. When the earth fills the Zai holes right after the first year, this happens mainly on sandy soils or on mismanaged fields. It is necessary to resume the whole process during the year that follows. In any case, we have in mind the idea of working not only during the rainy season, but also getting the best from the dry season. The difference between a Zai field now on, we can see things clearly, and we hope that, basing on this technique, we will be able to feed our wives, children, and the family as a whole. If you don't fail to help us, we will show you next season everything in our capacity.
Oui, ça c'est formidable. Je crois que ça c'est un modèle.
C'est ce qu'on a vu dans l'exposition. Mais ça c'est un peu foncé par rapport à ça. Il y a au moins un mètre.
Il dit que ce que nous vivons n'est pas ça.
Parce que souvent, ils pensent que c'est... Donc vous avez le, disons, vous avez mesuré
What's your
l'espace,
appreciation of the difference?
Le rendement est facile à estimer.
Le rendement grain et le rendement paille. Et on fait la comparaison avec sans Zai grain et sans Zai paille.
Et comme ça, avant mesurer
The difference is noticeable at the yield level. With the Zai, we have double the unusual yield without the Zai. On the basis of positive results obtained during the 2002-2003 agricultural campaign, the team managing the initiative at the headquarters of the World Bank decided to authorize a new support for the 2003-2004 campaign with the aim of extending, reinforcing, and making the established knowledge of the past season accessible to a larger scale. On November the 5th, 2003, Just at the end of the Continental Conference on African Ministers on Decentralization and Participatory Development, held in Ouaga, Mr. Nicolas Jostani, leader of the World Bank's local knowledge team, and Mrs. Suzanne Esama, member of the team, accompanied by Mr. Emmanuel Nikema, specialist in human resource management and member of the knowledge team in Ouagadougou, visited Zai farms in the village of Nyonyogo. Nyonyogo is situated 20 kilometers north of Ouagadougou in the department of Dapelgo, which comprises all in all 24 villages. After they were offered some zomkom, millet-based drink, a key part of a welcome ceremony among the Mosi people, the World Bank delegation and the people of Nyonyogo held warm talks in a festive mood and under the staring of friendly and grateful eyes. Impressed by the marvels of the Zai Technique, many villagers came out to show their happiness to the visitors.
Messieurs le notable de village, Monsieur le directeur, Mesdames et Messieurs.
Honorable chiefs of the village, directors, ladies and gentlemen, this is an honor for me and for my colleagues to pay a visit to this village in order to see your achievements, your advancements in implementing the Zai method. You are the pioneers who scatter out the Zai technique, which is at the beginning of development. The development of a country like Burkina goes through its local knowledge. It's not made in the offices in Ouagadougou.
Qui est à la base du développement de cette région agricole. Parce que le développement d'un pays comme le Burkina passe par le savoir local. Ça ne se fait pas à Ouagadougou dans le ministère.
D'accord. Bielem Tibangi, Tibam, Jacob Noran, now Wakawan. A Bielem to now, Wamin, Wanya, Waye, Nevenum, Zayan Toomdi. Tibala, Bamming a meme, Tiayam, La Pipi, and now Mammy, Zayan Toom, Tenkanga Kasu.
La Banque mondiale vous soutient et va continuer de soutenir vos efforts et nous espérons d'avoir cette
The World Bank is bringing you its support, and the bank will continue backing up your efforts in view of getting concrete results, real results for the lives of your fellow citizens. This is not a mere speech, but it is all about living a much more pleasant life, life that is much more adequate for our children.
Le vieux, vous avez vu, il a sursauté. Il s'est explosé. Et si vous regardez, c'est un sourire.
Have you seen the old man? He exploded into laughter. This means a lot. He has promised that his people will show much more commitment if you bring them your support.
Vous êtes un grand partenaire.
You are a great partner to whom I would like to say thank you very much. And these thanks are difficult to extend. I can't find the right words to thank you. We are very happy indeed. This is a new method that is going to help restore a maximum glasses. As you know it well, agriculture is people's main activity in Burkina, but getting a farming land is a problem. There is much soil deterioration. We hope to restore them by practicing the Zai. The farmers wish to get support from the World Bank, both in time and space, so as to restore a maximum farming land in the hope of improving people's living conditions. Under a heavy sun, Mr. Nicolas and his delegation lived in bad weather conditions, braved tiredness and thirst, in order to visit Zai field sites, group fields serving as a lesson on the Zai, and private fields. The FAO classified these fields as uncultivated ones. But thanks to the Zai, we moved from no yield to about 1,400 kilograms per hectare in these zones, which is appreciable. Whereas the nearby fields, which did not apply the Zai, give a 500 kilogram per hectare yield. That makes a difference of 1,400 minus 500 equals 900 kilograms per hectare. Here, how many sacks of per hectare are needed to feed a household? Here, the Interstate Committee for the Control of Drought in the Sahel, VICILS, estimates that 190 kilograms of cereals are needed per person and per year. So if one can get from a hectare 10 sacks, this means that a family of 10 to 15 people can feed on a hectare. On average, what length of field is exploited per family? A lot of people live in this zone, so that farming areas per families are not very large, about 3 hectares on average in this zone. But for some zones, we have got 10 and 0.5 hectares for other zones. Now, here are some people's impressions at the end of the day's field visit.
Par rapport au rapport qu'on nous envoie, la visite du terrain est très significative.
In comparison with the reports that are sent to us, a field visit is much more significant in that it displays real results. For my part, I am very much satisfied and highly impressed. I think we should continue in the same way.
Je suis extrêmement satisfait de ce que j'ai pu voir.
I am extremely satisfied with what I could see this morning in the village of Nyonyogo, but also in the other localities that are supported by the Local Knowledge Initiative of the World Bank, mainly through the achievements made in the Zai domain.
Et donc nous sommes très contents de ces efforts et nous espérons voir le résultat.
We are very happy with the efforts made. We hope to see speedy results. And we are going to try to come back in a year's time to see if the Zai practice has been scattered out all over this zone.
Dans cette zone.